Sana, so basically, I wanted to ask you how you got started with ecologically friendly pads because even the topic of pads is such a taboo in Pakistan, and starting a whole organization on it. Like, I just wanted to know how did you get the confidence to do that, and where that idea stemmed from? Because it's a pretty unique idea in Pakistan as such, because it is a developing country.
So basically, I'll give credit to my cousin and my sister here, who basically came up with the idea, and it stemmed from conversation to their house help. They just started जो हमारे घर में महीने का सौदा आता है, so my mom would get these commercial sanitary pads for our house help also. तो my sister just started asking her कि तुम क्या इस्तेमाल करती हो गाँव में, because she spent a very long time in her village and then she moved to Karachi. So she said कि हमारे यहाँ तो undergarments का भी concept नहीं होता, we don't really have a concept of commercial pads, we just use cloth. And there are various reasons for the usage of cloth. Cultural reasons होते हैं, this is something their mothers and their mothers and their mothers have been using. So there is a sense of reliability and loyalty with the cloth. कि अच्छे से ये हमसे पहले भी लोगों ने इस्तेमाल किया है, इट हैज़ रियली अफेक्टेड फर्टिलिटी. तो वो होता है फाइनेंशियल रीजंस, द मोस्ट ऑब्वियस वन, बिकॉज देयर इज़ नो कॉस्ट एसोसिएटेड विद द क्लॉथ रियली. मतलब पुराने कपड़ों को सेव करके उनको धो धुला के उसको काट के और आप इस्तेमाल कर लेते हो, तो वो था. बट अगेन विद क्लॉथ कम्स अ लॉट ऑफ कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज बिकॉज इट्स ओल्ड क्लॉथ, एंड उसके अगर इफ़ यू टियर इट तो उसके कोनों पे देयर इज़ like rough edges hoti hain, so it results in infections, bad odor, different types of like rashes. So मुख्तलिफ उसके problems होते हैं, and it's a little it's not the best for mobility also. Okay. Right, because it's not very secure, there's nothing really holding that pad down besides like a knot or something. तो कोई gel वगैरह भी नहीं होती, तो उसके अलग consequences होते हैं. But when we were in the design research phase of this, we interviewed women across social stratas and across age groups, and we found that women use these primarily for financial reasons, cultural reasons, and also out of the fear of transitioning to commercial pads, because there was this misconception misconception तो मैं खैर नहीं बोलूँगी, but there was this idea that commercial pads result in, because they have gels in it, right? Yeah. And they have this odor also, तो कि it would affect fertility. फिर उसके अलावा महंगा बहुत है. अगर आपको for me and you not so much, मतलब it's a very taken granted kind of a thing. राइट, बट अगर आप एक अल्ट्रा थिन का एक पैक लेंगे और उसमें अब 5 या 6 भी होंगे, तो वो आपको 150 का पड़ेगा. और ऑफ कोर्स एक साइकिल में आपको उतना तो नहीं चाहिए, कम से कम आपको 2 तो चाहिए. एंड इफ देयर इज अ हाउस होल्ड ऑफ लाइक 3 फीमेल्स, सो दैट्स लाइक 900-1,000 रुपीज, और एक उनका जो मंथली बजट है वो हिल जाता है. सो पीपल आर लाइक अच्छा हम ये we don't want to go for this, and for all understandable reasons. That was, and that's when my sister basically, she started prototyping with my cousin on reusable pads. And the idea is not a very new idea, because it has been implemented in Africa. It has been done in India. Pakistan ka the model came through us. Usse pehle there have been startups who have been selling Indian reusable pads, but Pakistan mein locally produced pehle nahi hue the. So we did that, but usse pehle hum bas koshish kar rahe the. We studied prototypes कि अच्छा अफ्रीका में क्या चलता है, but उसके अंदर ये एक limitation थी कि a lot of the raw materials that were being used वो पाकिस्तान में available नहीं थे, या वो इंडिया में available थे. तो हमें फिर alternatives ढूंढने थे उसके. अगर हमें वो मिल जाते तो कम से कम हमें श्योर होता कि अच्छा ठीक है वो वहाँ काम कर गया, यहाँ भी काम कर जाएगा. बट सो वी स्पेंट a lot of time trying to find just the perfect prototype, and we wrote to different people. We tried to get support from family members, from different organizations, different community leaders. We floated the idea, but of course people just rid us off. They were like मतलब अच्छे बच्चे हैं, you don't really know what you're talking about.
I wanted to ask you, basically, बचपन से we've heard this phrase कि don't talk about pads in front of guys, especially, or don't talk about and especially if you're talking about Pakistani society, which is relatively new to the concept. It's a good idea, but in a conservative society like Pakistan, I wanted to ask you, were there any issues you faced, or were there any setbacks that you and your cousins or colleagues they faced with this idea? And how, because I know that you won a UNICEF award as well, so how did from the hurdles, how did you end up winning an award? So can you explain that process, please?
Yeah, so sure, it's a stigmatized topic and it's not a dining table conversation for us also. But अगर कोई setbacks या कुछ उस तरह की बातें थी तो it never reached us really. On face value, people were at least very, very supportive. Yeah, and we got lucky in the sense कि when we were trying to, kind of like come up with something, तो उसी दौरान UNICEF की एक competition launch हुई थी, which was called Generation Unlimited. And they were launching in 80 countries and Pakistan was one of the countries, and we by fluke हमने बस बोला चलो ठीक है कर देते हैं apply, and we cleared the first round. तो पहले 10 teams select हुई to receive the seed fund, और उसकी वो $1000 का seed fund था. तो हमारे पास 2 महीने थे जिसके अंदर हमें अपना जो plan था वो एक छोटे scale पे implement करना था. We had to document it and then revert to UNICEF again, and on the basis of that they would select 5 global winners. So what we did was that we piloted this project in a neighborhood called Baldia Town. So Baldia Town के अंदर एक community center है हुनर घर. So what we did was we reached out to them and we were like कि आपके यहाँ footfall इतना है औरतों का, आपके इलाके से औरतें वैसे ही आ जाती हैं, तो हम ये एक idea उनके साथ float करना चाहते हैं, उनका interview करना चाहते हैं, देखना चाहते हैं कि what are the practices that they use, and if we were to propose an alternative to them, would they be willing for that? And we were also like कि हम चाहते हैं कि they make these reusable cloth pads themselves, because if they will make it themselves, they will be more likely to have confidence in the product. उनको पता होगा कि हमने कुछ डाला नहीं है इसमें. they were like कि हम उनको उस हिसाब से पेमेंट भी दे देंगे, right? So they were like कि हाँ, why not? And surprisingly the session went really well and they were very, very welcoming, which was very contrary to our perception of how they would take it, right? So वो हुआ, and we went there and we documented the whole thing and we submitted it to UNICEF, and then after a month back we heard from them and they were like, oh, you've won the seed grant and you were one of the 5 global winners. So we were really, really shocked. We were like, we did not see this coming at all, because it was a big deal. And we received like the final funding from UNICEF, and then we were on a contract with them for a year. Just they mentored us, they supported us to kind of build this into a fully functioning social enterprise. क्योंकि पहले हमने एक small scale पे किया था, फिर हमने आहिस्ता आहिस्ता इसको full scale पे हम जाना चाह रहे थे, and we wanted it to be like a profit business, right? तो वो हमने किया.
So basically, I wanted to talk to you about your target audience, because I know my question A would be, how are these pads, the ones that you guys make? Because I know when you say conventional women were using cotton pads, how are those different from the cotton pads that you guys make? Like, and also, how it's like easier for someone from a lower class to shift to these pads because they were traditionally using cotton. What about the upper middle class? Some people like us, like, how would you see those challenges? Because they would see it as something, oh no, we're used to commercial pads, like why should we stick to cotton? So how did you convince that target audience?
So yeah, we had like 2 kind of target audience as you gauged. एक हमारा lower income bracket था, एक हमारा middle to middle income bracket था. तो उसमें lower income bracket को एक तो यही जो आपकी बात थी कि they've already been using it traditionally, so the transition was very, very easy for them because this was a better version of the cloth pads that they were using. So to come into your first question कि how they're different, एक तो ये कि they're sanitized, right? So आपका जो cloth pad होता है वो तो आपने बस rags लिए पुराने कपड़ों के, सही है, तो एक तो वो है. उसके अलावा this is properly structured, you can properly secure it to your undergarment. It has like enough width and length कि you're leak proof, you're secure. We use organic cotton. We don't we don't use any kind of scents in our pads because again that just results in a very weird kind of an odor. So we just like keep it just the way it is. हम waterproof material उसके अंदर use करते हैं, organic cotton use करते हैं. So that is like the making of the pad really. And हमने हमारी middle income audience को basically इस तरीके से convince किया कि again the past I think 2 to 3 years there has been a very rapid graduation within the middle income bracket to eco-friendly practices. There are lots of good startups that are working for this. So you will see people carrying tote bags and metal straws and like loofahs and soaps, इस तरीके की चीज़ें सरप्राइजिंगली आई थिंक थिंग्स रियली वर्कड आउट फॉर अस इन दैट वे कि लोगों का रुझान उसकी तरफ वैसे ही बढ़ रहा था. पीपल वर ऑलरेडी हैविंग दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन एंड the one gap that existed was you had shampoos. People were using shampoos, they were using thermoses, they were using metal straws, they were using bamboo straws. Restaurants were introducing paper straws. People wanted to move away from plastic. तो वो सब कुछ हो रहा था, but जो एक गैप था वो आपकी यहाँ हेल्थ और हाइजीन में आ रहा था कि या तो आपके पास वो थे what do you call those menstruation cups जो होते हैं, right? But again उसके अंदर भी there's a massive fear associated with women. या तो एक वो था which I think is a great product also, but again there's a lot of I think convincing involved, but ये I think was a middle product जो कि पहले मुल्कों में test हो चुका था and all that. तो when we came into the market with this product, because people were already trying out other reusable things, and they were making that shift in their lifestyle, they were willing to give this a shot at least, right? Again, the past I think 2 to 3 years there has been a very rapid graduation within the middle income bracket to eco-friendly practices. There are lots of good startups that are working for this. So, you will see people carrying tote bags and metal straws and like loofahs and soaps, इस तरीके की चीज़ें सरप्राइजिंगली आई थिंक थिंग्स रियली वर्कड आउट फॉर अस इन दैट वे कि लोगों का रुझान उसकी तरफ वैसे ही बढ़ रहा था. पीपल वर ऑलरेडी हैविंग दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन एंड the one gap that existed was you had shampoos. People were using shampoos, they were using thermoses, they were using metal straws, they were using bamboo straws. Restaurants were introducing paper straws. People wanted to move away from plastic. तो वो सब कुछ हो रहा था, but जो एक गैप था वो आपकी यहाँ हेल्थ और हाइजीन में आ रहा था कि या तो आपके पास वो थे what do you call those menstruation cups जो होते हैं, right? But again उसके अंदर भी there's a massive fear associated with women. या तो एक वो था which I think is a great product also, but again there's a lot of I think convincing involved, but ये I think was a middle product जो कि पहले मुल्कों में test हो चुका था and all that. तो when we came into the market with this product, because people were already trying out other reusable things, and they were making that shift in their lifestyle, they were willing to give this a shot at least, right? We didn't think that they would probably stick to it, but we were like, and of course customers come with a lot of like queries which are all very understandable. They're like, अच्छा हम इसको धोएंगे कैसे, हम इसको बार बार यूज कैसे करेंगे, ये साफ कैसे होगा, हम इसको स्टोर कैसे करेंगे, because this is a very it's a bit of an effort, right? It's not as convenient कि आपने पैड लगाया, आपने उसको dispose कर दिया, right? But उसका ये है कि you are really hurting the planet like that, because a conventional pad would take up to 200 years to decompose. It is going to outlive you, right? इसके अंदर थोड़ा सा एक आपका you save a lot of your financial cost on that, and it's a lot more comfortable उस तरीके से. So people had queries and concerns, and I think we had to be very patient with the process. We told customers कि अच्छा ठीक है, अगर आप hesitant हैं तो आप प्रीमियम पैक पे मत जाएं, आप सिंगल पैड लेना शुरू करें. तो हमने सिंगल पैड से रिटेल करना शुरू किया 450 रुपये का. लाइक आप ये ट्राई करें, वी विल नॉट इवन पुश फॉर यू टू बाय अ फुल पैक बिकॉज वी डोंट वांट टू प्रमोट लाइक वेरी कंज्यूमरिस्ट हैबिट्स. So I think initially थोड़ा सा अपनी footing establish करना मुश्किल होता है with products like these because they're tricky. It's not like makeup. It's not like something of that sort. This is a sensitive product and it requires a lifestyle change also in some ways. And it is not as convenient. So thoda sa effort hota hai, I think, from the customers and also, and we also need to meet them halfway. And I think once they're satisfied with that, we've had a lot of sales simply through referrals. Like if one person has used it, they would be like, "Acha, we've used this product. Why don't you give this a shot?" And then a lot of returning customers, people buying it for their daughters, and they're very very happy with it because with commercial pads also recently we with Always and like a few others, there were like these viral posts that went on Instagram, right? कि infection हो गया, ये हो गया, वो हो गया, right? तो लोग वैसे भी वहाँ से तो डर ही रहे थे, right? So they were like कि commercial in pads में तो कोई like इसके अंदर कोई chemical नहीं है, कोई इसके अंदर odor नहीं है, मतलब it's as clean as it gets, right? तो this is safe for my body.
So because with companies like, as you said, Always and Butterfly, those companies are looking more to sell rather than women's hygiene. So man, kudos to you. And I just wanted to ask you a final question. Where do you see this project leading up, or not even this project as such, but where do you see the transition of cotton pads? And because as you said, the world is transitioning, people our age are becoming more environmentally aware of plastic and its harmful effects. So
it's important to realize कि आपका footprint on the planet क्या है, what you are bringing into your house, what you are introducing to your body, because a lot of these things are going to outlive us, and we need to leave a better, more sustainable planet, sustainable planet, sustainable planet, sustainable planet, sustainable planet.